5 reasons why your parenting feels like a battle. You're welcome. And because it is Tuesday Live, thank you for joining me today. Sorry, we are 2 minutes late. Yes, but we are here. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. And today, Tuesday Live, you are going to have some awesome time. Can you hear me? Can you see me? If your parenting have been a battle, today is the day you're going to know why you are battling and what it is that you're going to do anyway. So send this link to someone. Tell them to tell someone that we are live. Yes, because we're going to be sharing some insight. Why are you battling? Why is your parenting feeling like a battle? Why is it feeling like a battle? Now, we're going to be sharing 5 reasons why that happened. But if you're here, you can see me. You can hear me. Let me see your comment right in the comment section telling me that you can see me and you can hear me. If you have invited somebody, please let me know that you have invited somebody. Share. Tell someone to tell someone. This is a free class. There's no reason why we should not be a minimum of 1,000, 2,000 people watching it. And it is as relevant as it should be. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you for being here. My name is Wendy Ologe, and I'm called Africa's #1 parent coach. It's been a pleasure being on the Tuesday Live for many years now. I think we are going to go and celebrate how many years we've been on Tuesday Live, right? It's as long as we've actually been on the Intentional Parent Academy. Of course, you know that this year, the Intentional Parent Academy started at the counting another year. Our anniversary is 1st of January, always. Now, parenting is one of the life most rewarding yet challenging roles. However, it can sometimes feel like a constant struggle. It leaves you emotionally drained. It leaves you questioning your abilities. If you feel like your parenting has turned into a battlefield, see, don't start blaming your children. I hear quite a number of parents say to me, it's becoming a battlefield. The parenting is hard. It's because my children are not like this and all of that. People have even told me, your children are not, your children are not my children are very stubborn. That's why you don't really understand. It's not the same for me. If you feel like your parenting has turned into a battlefield, it's become essential that you review what it is that is at the back of that your parenting. Yes, and my mom is here. Hello, Mom. It is good to have you today on Tuesday Live. My mom is always here. All right, shout out to my mama. Thank you so much for being here. Now, let's go there. Instead of sitting back for you to actually, sit back and say, I don't know what's happening and all of that, it is essential that you begin to explore the reasons behind the dynamics and discover the strategies you're going to use. Most times, we are stuck up, right? And just telling ourselves, oh, it's not my fault. Oh, it's not like that. Oh, it's not, and all of that. And then we end up with being in the space where we're not blaming the child. If you are blaming the child, you're on that table, saying to yourself, right, that it is your child that is the problem, you're wrong. Climb down from that table. Like we say in the yard. Inner circle parents will say, climb down. The table has been broken. Shut up. Climb down from the table. And thank you to everybody who have shared the link on their status and everywhere. Thank you so much for being here. Number one thing that you want to look at. So today we're going to be searching out. You know how the Bible says, search out the heart so that you can know exactly what the issues are. So today we're going to be searching out the heart, and we're going to also be sharing with you what is the issue, how are we going to be also, dealing with it. Number one problem is unrealistic expectation. Most of us are actually unrealistic about our expectations. Say yes, and my husband is here. Shout out to the governor. Instead of blaming yourself, ask yourself, what is my part in the challenge? That is actually the major problem. In fact, let me tell you this story. Side note, right? Side story. One of those days, I remember something happened with our children. I think one of the children were having a hard time, doing something. I can't even remember what it was exactly. And I just kept complaining. Why is it that my husband now said, come, this can call my wife. Come, let's go and look at what it is that we're not getting right? So that we can deal with it. It is not this child. It is us. So it is you in terms of, is either what you have done or what it is that you have failed to do. That's actually one of the biggest, issues that we have. Sometimes it is what is there that you're supposed to do that you haven't done. I usually say that every system that fails is either the system you build the process you build that you didn't follow, or the one you didn't build at all. Whichever way, it is you. Hey, Dr. Bolala. Many parents enter parenting with an idealistic vision. That kind of perfection, yeah? That kind of, where you are actually looking out at your parenting. You're like, I don't know how many of you. So we were doing a review of our book, Connect to Correct, trying to get a copy for you to see, in case you've never seen Connect to Correct. If you've never seen Connect to Correct, you've never read it, you are wrong. So, and I was, reading, doing the review of Connect to Correct, and I saw where I wrote that. So if you want to have a perfect child, you might as well, wake up and have a banker, right? So I laughed when I was reading it again. I read it again recently. Many times we're looking at a perfect child. We are looking at a perfect child. You want to, that child who everything is working, everything is, you just want everything, just seated. You want the child not to make noise. In fact, you go to some houses, they tell you, I don't want children making noise. I don't like children crying. Like, I don't understand. You don't like children making noise. You don't like children crying. How do they now want to be children? So many of the times you find out that you are just there seeking for where the reality doesn't match these things. Sometimes you are actually on social media. Then you see a picture of a child, a toddler, who is quiet. They feed him. They do you that video. What they don't show you is the back end. So you that I have a toddler who is always crying, in your mind, you're like, my toddler is always crying. You don't understand. I've seen other toddlers. No, you have not seen other toddlers. You have just seen other toddlers when they're happy waving, or they came to visit your house. You've not seen other toddlers, right? You have just been thinking in your head that your child will need to be perfect. Children are naturally curious. Children are naturally opinionated. Children are naturally unpredictable, which can clash with the rigid parenting approach that we usually, actually just, have with them. The truth is, parents often expect children to behave, understand, manage emotions like adults. But on the flip side, children fall short. It creates frustration. You're looking at how a child is going to become so perfect. But all of a sudden, you yourself, you're still battling with. I usually tell parents that they throw adult tantrums. A child is throwing a tantrum. You are also hitting the child. That's you throwing an adult tantrum. Because it also means that you cannot stay calm in the midst of chaos. It's a training. And that's why we talk about emotional intelligence all the time. Oh, by the way, the emotional intelligence course is already launched. You can now register for it. It's for February. Registration is open. We usually make registration very, open early. That way, you can get the early bird offer very, very early. The early bird offer, the cost is 30,500. The early bird offer is, what's the early bird offer again, guys? 15,500, right? Of course, the others have a others fee. If you're a yada, don't listen to this. The conversation for you will be in the community. And don't be angry that you're not a yada. It's called the others advantage. Yes, you heard me right. Okay, but let's go there. Now, many times you now begin to see that you are now the one who actually has a problem. I usually often tell parents that there is nothing you can do as a parent without building your emotional capacity. It's impossible. Unfortunately for us, people like us, right? Most of us were not raised with emotional intelligence. Most of us were not, right? My mom is here. My mom is one of those people who would not yell. Like, I didn't have a yelling mother, but I had a yelling father. My father will yell so much. I'm sure my father is also listening to me because my mom is here, I'm sure. But my dad will yell so much that, of course, emotional regulation wasn't something that came so easy. So emotional regulation didn't come so easy to me. I'm still on my journey. And you know what? Learning emotional intelligence consistently, right, has changed my life. Changed my life, my business, the way I think, the way, even my ability to make money. The other day I was listening in the class. Coach Malala was there with me in the Naira Academy, right? Where, we call it where we learn about money. Okay. And the coach was teaching, Coach Kwemeka, and he said, money is not about, it's actually a manifestation of the things that is internal. And emotional intelligence, right? Emotional intelligence is actually a core part of that conversation. So your physical realm is just a print. How did he even say it? It's just a print of what the other realms are. Your emotional realm, your spiritual realm, and all of the other realms that we have. So learning emotional intelligence is non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. So if you are a parent listening to me today, you tell me, oh, I've read the book, Connect to Correct. I've read it. It will bring you to the consciousness to begin to do things differently. But learning emotional intelligence is a continuous journey. It's a continuous journey. Hi, JD Videos. Thank you so much. Right? It's a continuous journey. It's something that you do, you're constantly developing yourself. Because you find out that at some point, this thing actually just makes you lose. Unrealistic expectation is from the place of lack of self-awareness. Unrealistic expectation is from a place of lack of self-awareness. Most of us were not raised to be self-aware. And this is not about calling out our parents. Like I said, my mom is watching me here. It's about being able to actually go to your past, identify what is wrong in your past, and deal with it for the future. This is very key. And let me share this with you. Expecting your child to be perfect may be, a start of you perfecting yourself first. Unrealistic expectations are more about your ego than your child's abilities. So let them grow instead of trying to impress others. So it's not really about your child. When you are saying, I want my child to become this, it's your ego. So some of us who were trophy children, whose parents pushed to actually get to a point where they need to, come out. We came out, from school very early. I came out top of my class. I was 20. It was a bragging right for my parents. So again, my parents are listening to me. But let me tell you the truth. Those things were not about me. It was about my parents. It was about my parents. It was about the things that they wanted to feel. So I have a book called Raising the Trophy Child. You want to actually go get that book where it's part of our review books for senior years. But one of the books that I launched last year. But it wasn't about me. It wasn't about the child. No, it wasn't about making me become a better performer. Yeah, that's what we think it is. The real problem is that it is about our ego. Most times, this unrealistic expectation hits on our ego. It's more about our ego than the child's ability. And the child's ability. All right. This is actually really, really interesting. And really, this is very this is very important for you to really understand that is a key aspect. What do you do? The issue is that you are constantly telling your children this is how to be, but what you need to adjust your expectation. Now, caveat, so that you don't misunderstand me. I like teaching and I like balancing issues because I see that a lot of people just take one aspect of a teaching and run off. And that's why I constantly say, if you are in the inner circle, you Tuesday life is a different conversation for you. In fact, I would usually say that Tuesday life is for others first. They get it. Like they take it and they are able to actually really use it in the tangible form. Tuesday life is as good as it sounds, right? There is a limit to the process. because the Tuesday Life is part of the process of a whole curriculum that we've created into. So this is me. Is a cue for telling you to join the inner circle for 2026. Trust me, it's going to help you a lot. All right. So it is very important for you to begin to look at your expectations. Expectations are not bad. So this book, The Parenting Advantage, is about examples, expectations. For me, expectations are not. In fact, if you raise a child without expectations, you kill the child, literally. But the problem is, how do we communicate the expectations? Of course, we know that our communication class comes up this week on Thursday. It's an inner circle program. You can join us. How do we communicate expectations? How do you match expectations? So I was writing in The Parenting Advantage, and I was talking about it's about transforming yourself into an advantage for your child. And in that conversation, I was actually saying that expectation is good. However, expectation without a base. So you're expecting your child to become this. What is the base for the expectation? It's a failed system. You can't have expectation without a base. So you want your child to become the child who will cook at age 6. You wake up in the morning, you just realize that your child is 13 and your child is not cooking. That's the wrong kind of expectation. That's the kind of expectation that actually breeds pressure. If you create an expectation, then create a goal to align with it. And then work on your emotions to be able to carry it through. So one thing you want to do is to adjust your expectation. Embrace the journey of your child. See, it's not the other way around. Your child is not going to embrace your journey. You are the one to embrace the journey of your child. Write it in the comment section. I will embrace the journey of my child. I will embrace the individuality of my child. Understand that challenges are normal part of their development. If you understand what I'm teaching you today, you will get it that a 4-year-old learns to lie, not because they understand that lying is bad, but because the brain development teaches a 4-year-old that they need to fantasize to be able to become creative. Now you see it. If you understand what I'm teaching you, you will understand that a child who is 13, who sleeps and just wakes up lazy about, is not just trying to be lazy. That the puberty brain is a lazy brain. Laziness is induced by those hormones. So if you get it at that place where the child is on their journey, your expectations will have a base, would actually be, if you have something that you're putting on it for that expectation to actually happen. So you will not have an empty expectation. If you understand what I'm teaching, you understand that if you want your child to be I want my child to really, become somebody who understands maths as a certain age, it starts from where you have the child. You don't wake up in the middle of the day and say you are beating a child for not being able to solve math because you are with that child and you are doing assignments. How does that make sense? That's an expectation that is unrealistic. The child is struggling with math because the child lacks math basics. The child doesn't have it. Instead of you to think, okay, how do I help my child to learn math? You are saying, no, at your age, your mates are having A maths. How does that make sense? You think about it. So you need to embrace with the journey of your child, not your own journey. After everything I've done for you, do you know how I'm suffering? Please suck it up. You chose to have a child. You chose to have a child. It is a choice. A choice. You can choose not to have that child. So you must embrace the journey of the child, not your own journey. It is the journey of that child if you're going to actually raise a child who will thrive. Number two, power struggle. Constantly saying no, trying to control every aspect of your child's behavior. It can actually lead to defiance. Parenting often feels like a battlefield when you are in constant tug of war for control. Children, especially as they grow older, begin to seek autonomy and independence. But of course, you enforce rigid rules without room for negotiation, your children will push back. I usually say that children who grew up within rules will rebel. Children who grew up within values would actually are the ones who will thrive. Rules are for you to rebel against them, in quote. Yeah. So are rules good? Rules without values are dead. That's the truth. So you need to create, instead of creating that circle, a place where there will be a circle of resistance, a circle of frustration, your children are pushing back, you're angry. Control is the short-term fix. Connection is a long-term solution. The problem is that we're not even patient enough to go through the process of connection. And we want quick, Jehovah, sharp, sharp, prophet suddenly, now. One of the things you learn, right, when you actually join the inner circle is that there is no now result. You see all the people that promise you, come and do 5 days, you stop yelling. Sorry, you will not stop yelling. And it's not because the teaching was not effective. It's because it's beyond just saying, come and stop yelling. There's something internal you need to fix that actually we need to lead you to stopping yelling. If you don't learn how to control your emotions, you will yell forever. Quote me. I'm not a prophet of doom, but it is the truth. It is the truth. So if you're looking for, I just want to go to a place, they will just tell me now. Now, what I will do, my children will just behave well. I will not become the parent who doesn't yell. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. The problem is that most times we're fighting connection. We're looking at connection as something really different. Every battle you fight with your child teaches them to fight back. You must choose peace over pride. Choose me. In the inner circle, right? We call it humility agbada. Humility agbada. And there is no instant miracle. Thank you. May Lord Omolora Adeyemi, I say you, ma'am. There's no instant miracles. It doesn't exist. You know, somebody said, after no yelling challenge, I started yelling. That's it. So all this, no, I want to attend to this, just this one and all of that and all of that. You know, 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2, 3. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Kemi said, truly, I joined the course to stop spanking years ago. You know what? Because we didn't address the root cause. If you don't address the issues, the root issues, you will yell forever, you will spank forever, you will be angry forever. So remove that your pride, choose peace, enter the emotional intelligence course. It will help your life. Honestly speaking, that's one of the best things that can happen to you. Take the what's it called? The early bird offer that's in 48 hours. This is the only 48 hours early bird order, 15,500. Cost is 30,500. After 2 days, it just goes, and then we start our marketing. This is just for those who are listening to it now. See, offering your children choices doesn't mean that you're weak. It means that you're teaching them how to make decisions. The child who is never allowed to decide for themselves grows into an adult who can't stand on their own. Let me say that again. A child who is never allowed to decide for themselves grows into an adult who can't stand on their own. Think about it. Many of us are adults who can't stand on. We can't make decisions on our own because we have been scaffolded for many years. Our parents have made all the decisions. They, told us what it is, that you get and all of that. So all these are no, I'm the one. It's my control and all of that. Control is short-term fix. Connection is long-term solution. A child defiance is a mirror of your parenting. Is the mirror of your parenting. And I often say to parents, bend so that your children don't have to break. Let me say that again. Bend so that your children don't have to break. If you don't bend, your children will break. Because at that time, there's going to be a lot of, tussle. One of the things you want to do is to begin to look at where you're stepping away from struggles, where you're stepping away from this power, all this. Haven't you fought enough? Haven't you done enough? If you've done enough, it's time for you to step away. You've done enough. So bend. So your children don't. You have fought. You have been begging. You have been beating. You have been fighting. All the while that you have been fighting, and what has happened? Has anything changed? Nothing has changed. And you're still fighting. Coach Malola said, I've attended emotional intelligence course, and it's been a game changer for me, not just for parenting. And I've enrolled for this course 6 times, 6 years in a row. There's always a lot to learn. Too much. I've been on every year I take emotional intelligence courses because I know that that's a huge struggle. Most of you are not making money because you like emotional intelligence. Yesterday, I had a conversation with a mentee who sat with me, and I was having a breaking down some stuff for him, and I said, "You can be skilled and still be poor, highly sought after, highly skilled. Though. I've seen it happen a lot of times. Highly skilled, but yet you remain poor because you do not have emotional intelligence to actually be able to. Again, money is just a reflection of the internal processes. Emotional intelligence being a core. If you don't have it, you don't know what it is that you actually do. So it is important that you actually begin to look at yourself and say to yourself, okay, what do I need to do? So the fight, you fought enough. It's okay. Stop fighting. Now try something else. Even if you don't believe me, try this one. Maybe you've tried other ones, right? And the thing has been there. Hi, Brenda. And the thing has been there. Brenda, I'm supposed to actually give you some responses. I did, but my network is having a bit of a hanging. So if you've sent me a chat throughout this morning, please forgive me. You might not be able to reach me until in a few hours. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Now, when you stop trying to control every move, you start teaching them how to think. When you stop trying to control them, you start teaching them how to think. Right now, most of our children can't think. Can't think. They can't think. And that is so, so important. I can see a lot of people saying, this is my 4th year taking emotional intelligence. Yes. Oh, yes, you can be highly skilled and poor. Highly skilled. I've seen it severally happening to many people. Emotional intelligence is a game changer. And I'm telling you sincerely, my own personal encounter, it changed my life. In the past 10 years that I have been do you know, I was sharing with inner circle parents, and I was talking about journaling, and I was saying how journaling actually builds you, right? And I'm sure that many people who are listening to me don't understand what I'm saying, but let me break it down a bit. And I was talking about how without self-reflection, you can't move forward. You can't. You can't move forward. I just want to create, and that's why a lot of our parents survived. They didn't try. Two different things. Most of our parents didn't live life to fulfillment. Their potentials were not lived because emotional intelligence was so lacking in that generation. If you're a millennial like me, and I was raised by that generation, the Generation X, believe you me, that was a big deal. You know why? These are people who saw wars, traumatized, and never got healing through it. Sometimes I actually extend grace. I actually extend grace to that generation. Nobody asked them, nobody helped them. Man, you have help. You have no excuse. If you're listening to this class, you have help. You have no excuse. Our parents didn't have no help. In fact, I was having a conversation with my dad recently. My dad was in Abuja, had a surgery, and stayed in my house for a long time. And he was reading this book, The Trophy Child, and he said to me, this book, I wish I saw it. I didn't say it. This book is practically have a lot of me in it. But you know what? He said, the generation we have today have access to wisdom that can transform their lives. If you don't use it, it's on you. Truly. God is never going to come down to actually help you. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. And he said to me, look at me. I've not been able to manage a lot of, part of my emotions. That robbed that generation of a lot of things. So the truth is, you have no excuse. You have no excuse. You have help. Please make use of it. If there is one course, you're listening to me in the academy, you ever will miss in your life, not emotional intelligence. Never. It changes your life. Number 3, inconsistent boundaries. Inconsistent boundaries. If rules and consequences are unclear, values are unclear, everything is inconsistent. You know the parenting of anyhowness? That's what we call it in the yard. You know, in the inner circle, we have our own dictionary. If I say yadarically, yadas get it. If I say anyhowness, yadas get it. If I now say a lot, most of us are coming from a lot. Some of us are coming from a lot. They get it. I just love yadas. So, lack of boundaries, inconsistent boundaries. Most of us have no boundaries. It's almost like your children. In fact, if you are a parent, I've said it before, and you are in that WhatsApp group that says, my children don't even know me. They don't know what I'm going to do next. You are an inconsistent parent. I'm trying to look for the word. You are an anyhow parent. Your children don't know what it is. They can't determine what you can do. You don't have boundaries. That's the truth. So this is not even really about the child, right? Remember, parenting is about you. That's the most profound, quote that I have. I love that quote a lot because it was a word spoken to me directly. So children become confused when there is no set limit. So they will test limits. Inconsistency leads to frequent argument. They push boundaries. They want to understand where they stand. If you say, I'm unpredictable, if you have ever bragged about unpredictability, you are wrong. Are you on that table? Are you on that table? Unpredictability is normalized nonsense. I'm very unpredictable. My children don't know what I will do, next. My children don't know how it is that I'm going to react. That's a normalized, very typical normalized nonsense. Don't be on that table. All right? Don't be on that table, right? So unpredictability is not okay. So climb down. Thank you so much. So if your child does something, like they do something, they make a mistake, they are like panicking. Hey, I don't even know what my mom would do. I don't know what my father would do. It's not fair. You're unpredictable. You have a problem. It's not the child. You're unpredictable. You have a problem. It's not the child. So don't rejoice that, hey, my children are so afraid of me. They don't even know what I will do, how I will react. Oshe, climb down from that table, ma, sir. Just climb down. Climb down. It's the talk of people who do not have good emotional regulation. Don't do that, please. Don't be that. When your discipline is inconsistent, don't ever blame your child for being confused. Blame yourself for being unreliable. Discipline is about reliability. Discipline is about trust. Discipline is about being there. You are showing up. Consistency is a skill. That's one of the things I have learned. So I'm currently writing my book, right? The Kingmaker Wendy Ologi. My journey through Africa's #1 parent coach. It is my journey in the last decade. And I'm going to be launching it on my 40th. My 40th is on the 10th of March, by the way. Yes, I'm actually excited about being 40. Like, I don't look 40. Like, really? Yes. And one of the things that I was writing, I wrote in that book was about how I have built through consistency. Nobody built anything, and I say, quote me, through inconsistency. The more inconsistent you are, the more you cannot build anything sustainable. Sustainability is about consistency. It doesn't matter which area you're looking at it from. It doesn't matter where, it is a skill. See, no matter how you want to say, I don't get motivated. If you wait to be motivated, you will never do anything. You will never achieve anything in your life. Because motivation is total garbage. That's the truth. Motivation is total garbage. Nobody grows through motivation. Because truth is, you're going to be unmotivated several times. And that's why consistency is what plays a vital role in. Without consistency, everything crumbles. That's the most transformative tool. And I wrote it in the chapter where I'm talking about the transformative tool that transformed my life. It's easy to start something. Many people are good starters. We have good starters. It is very tough. Very few people finish. Sustaining that momentum is what people struggle with. I have been able to build a system where my momentum stayed this way year in, year out. Guys, it's not a joke. It is a skill. It is a skill. It is a skill. So year in, year out, there is something. I am at this tempo. Somebody reached out to me last year and said, I was in the inner circle for a whole year. You never had a tempo that went down. How did you do it? What motivates you? I said, nothing. I'm motivated. I've just built the skill of consistency. Consistent is a skill. You build it. And that's what discipline is about. You know, in my book, Discipline is Not an Emergency, I was actually sharing on what discipline truly is, right? For people who do not know these books, I'm trying to show that discipline is not an emergency. So if your discipline is about how you're going to react, how you're going to, that's reactivity. It takes you nowhere. It can actually not take you. You know, and this parent kept saying, I thought that by March, you know, April, May, June, the tempo goes, the same tempo we start a class in the inner circle with, is the same tempo. In fact, as it's getting to the end, the tempo escalates. It is a thing. Any consistency anything you build without consistency will crumble. It will crumble. It will crumble. It's easy to say, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. Consistency is in action. That's what it is. Motivation is very fleeting. Consistency is what keeps you moving. When motivation fades away, after a while, you stop getting motivated. If you are, relying on motivation to be able to come to retain coming to Tuesday Live, Coach Malala is here. I've known Coach Malala for 6 years. She's been consistent in every Tuesday Live. It is not because she has time. No. She's been consistent in every inner circle webinar. It's not because she has time. No. It's because she has built, it's just building a skill. You build a skill. A skill. I send voice note every morning to parents in the inner circle. Same energy, same drive. You don't pick it on the street. You build it, guys. You build it. And that's the same thing with your parenting. That's the same thing with your discipline. That's it. We're so consistent, my husband and I, that our children can touch it tangibly. They know how we will react. Our daughter did something recently, and she said, I know exactly how my mom was going to react. I was not in school to do a particular, stuff. It was their dad. And then they were like, if mommy had come, this is how she's going to work in. This is what she's going to do. This is what she's going to say to the teachers. I had a good laugh. God is the most predictable person on earth. And every time we're all looking up to God, looking up to Jesus, the author of finisher. How did we now get to a point where we want to become inconsistent? How do you raise disciplined people without being consistent yourself? There must be predictability. There must be something. There has to be. Your children should be able to sit and say, no, this is how this person is. People should be able to actually predict it. If you're unpredictable, you're on the wrong path. You're on the wrong path. Let's move. All right. I wrote a lot about consistency because that has been an anchor for me. Right. It's been an anchor for me over the years, right? Building whatever it is that I've built. And that's what I've gotten the Intentional Parents Academy where it is. Showing up even when it's not convenient. I've shown up to Tuesday Live every single day in the past almost 7 years. There are times that I wasn't feeling okay. I was still showing up. Same energy, same tempo. Why? Because there is something about building the skill. Do I get enough time to rest? Yes, I do. I'm one of those people who sleep well, do my exercise every day. I don't miss it. It's a skill. Let's go. The next one. The next one. The next reason why you struggle is overwhelm. 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 Most of us, anytime when we start the academy, what is it? Hey, I'm overwhelmed. Hey, how can I listen to this every day? Oh, the issue is that we've not built ourselves to the point where we are supposed to do. And that's because of lack of emotional intelligence. If you actually build your emotional intelligence, you will never be overwhelmed. If you build your emotional intelligence, you will never be overwhelmed. Never ever. Is the emotional intelligence, right? Right? Is an emotional intelligence you learn to say no to the things that are not good. The problem is that some of us are consistent in doing the wrong thing. That's actually the problem. Some of us we are consistent though, but your consistency is in you come out every day, father, you every weekend you hang out with the boys. You are consistent in the wrong things. Yeah. So overwhelmed. When you are consistent in the wrong thing, you become overwhelmed. There's no priority. You cannot, emotional exhaustion. You have conversations you have no business having. You are in WhatsApp groups you have no business being. When we teach time management in the yard, I usually say that you see plenty all this learning hub. I want to learn here. I want to learn. It is part of your problem. When learning is not curated and streamlined, it will mess up your head. The problem is that even when we're in curated system, we want to go and get, hey, I don't know, let it be short, let me learn from here. You will get overwhelmed. When you begin to build your emotional intelligence, you begin to understand wisdom. Now, wisdom is not in just knowing everything. That wisdom is actually being able to look at the things you know and you're able to turn them into tangible practices. It's not about knowing everything at all. It's not. It's not. So it is important that you begin to look at yourself. And then another thing that causes overwhelm is parenting martyrdom. Parenting martyrdom. Who remembers when I spoke about parenting martyrdom? I think I should expand more on it. You want to matter yourself. You are sacrificing. I need to sacrifice my children. My children are my life. I will sacrifice. Hey, I want to sacrifice. Is parenting martyrdom will overwhelm you. I'm not a matter auntie. Any parenting you're doing and you're not growing, all this, I've given up my life. I've not gone to any school. I can't even pay for any learning development. My children, because of my children's school, is parenting martyrdom. It is parenting martyrdom. That's what it is. Your life is all curated around everything your children do. My children are my life. My children, my leg, my everything about my children is what it is that I can't do anything. I can't move. Hey, nobody can look after my children. It's only me. Parenting martyrdom. Continue mattering yourself. You will be overwhelmed. You'll be overwhelmed. No atom of self-care. You don't take breaks, you don't do exercise, you don't journal, you are not in a learning hub that fosters growth for you, you will die. You will finish. Your children will come out and then you start blaming them, blackmailing them. After everything I sacrificed for you, nobody asked you to sacrifice. You chose your sacrifices. You chose your sacrifices. So all these, my children, my everything, my life. Your life is moving. Anything that you're doing and you're not growing in your parenting, you're not growing likewise your children. That's how God made it. And I usually say that self-development is the highest form of self-care. You are not developing yourself. You don't have self-care. You don't like yourself. You do not like yourself. You pay school fees, 1 million naira. Meanwhile, you can't afford it. It's parenting martyrdom. You want to matter yourself. And because of that, hey, I have not even had time to register. Somebody will say, I've not had time to register for any course in parenting. It's my children I'm facing now. How will you pour from an empty vessel? How, how, how do you want to do it? How do you want to do it? So you need to begin to prioritize yourself. Prioritize yourself. Because says that sacrifices are chosen. They are. And you know the worst part? This is why we're now having children who are 25, 30, sitting down in the houses. They've gone to school. You've paid so much abroad for them to study. And then they're sitting down, no job, and you're frustrated. Why? It's because you didn't grow yourself also. Why are you waiting for a child? A child's life is a child's life. Is it exciting that a child comes out and doing something well? Yes. But sometimes you actually, might not be able to actually know what it is that happens at the end. So grow yourself, prioritize yourself. Self care. Self care is self development. Develop yourself so that your children also don't look at you. You don't have wisdom. Do you know that self development is what retains you, your position as a parent? When you become a matriarch or a patriarch, that's what retains you at that space. Because parenting is 18 years, yes. And after 18 years, you become somebody who will now begin to advise. Some of us cannot offer wisdom because we have not developed ourselves. Your children know when you are nolodo, in quotes. They know when you don't have answers. Your children are just, they just come to you and say, Mommy will not know. Don't worry. You don't have answers because you have not developed yourself. For you to actually even be in the place where you are helping your child as a parent, especially as a parent of an adult child, no matter the level where you are preteen, teenagers, it is that you're developing yourself. They'll say, don't worry, my mommy will not know. Don't worry, don't worry. Love is not enough for you to retain relationship at the highest level and be valuable. Love cannot do it. You need to build skills that you will offer. It's about what you offer. At that point in time, it's about what the child is being offered from whoever. That's what makes the difference. So build you. Build you. Your children will know. Sorry, forgive my English. Olodo means I don't know what it is that they call it in Nigeria, but these days we're having Nigerian language. When you japa is now a proper statement. I remember when I wrote my book, Before You Japa, somebody said, why did you put Japa? Not international audience. Please, it is one of the books that is selling like wildfire on Amazon with the name Japa. Everybody now knows what Japa is. So forgive me, right? I just use it as a metaphor they call it. My point is, if you do not sell wisdom, they know your level. They know who you are. I love you is not enough. They know what you can do. As I am, let me give you a very typical example. I had to go and start putting up and curating my math skills. My children are math gurus. Like their math is something else. It challenges me. I am a very poor math student. They know. They don't ask me anything about math. You think your children don't know? They know that I'm a complete math zero, although in that aspect. So they just look at me like, Mommy, you think you don't understand? Don't worry. You won't get it. I never did further math. My son was trying to explain something to me on further math. I was like, no, but this thing, he said, Mommy, no, that's not how it works. That's how he gave me a clue into what can happen in the other areas of my life. So imagine that in financial building, your child is asking you, you're not here. Oh, no worry, my parents don't know anything about building finances. Or your child will say, oh, don't worry, my parents don't know anything about, this kind of thing. Because you were there shouting, I'm overwhelmed. I can't learn. I can't register for class. I don't have the time. When the chips are down, when the chips are down, your children will just be like this thing. They will take care of you. They will do it, but you will not be relevant. Relevance is not in love. You can be loved and not be relevant. Relevance is not in love. It is in the value that you can place on the table. So be relevant too. If not, at some point, you become so irrelevant. You will be loved. Nobody is saying that you will not be loved. You will be loved. Nobody, you will be all right. You'll be very all right. You don't understand. So build yourself. I started to build my math skills. So what I did was I'm learning money. I'm in a money academy. Because I don't want my children to come out tomorrow and say, you know, you don't really know how, you know, crypto works. You don't know how this one works. I know how it works. And I want to be able to actually be relevant. So build you. All these, I don't know. It's not me. It's not making sense. It's not making sense. Build you. Fight through to build you. Put yourself, prioritize you. Put yourself in front. Because if you don't, you cannot give what you don't have. Many of us are struggling to give what we don't have. You've never attended any parenting course. You've never attended any EI course. How do you want to treat a child who is throwing a tantrum? How do you want to know it? You can't. You will still throw a tantrum. Number 5, lack of emotional regulation. Somebody said, I refuse to be an olodo. Me, I refuse. Oh. I refuse. So I'm building different paths. Somebody say you're constantly learning. I say, when I have children who are, their brains are firing like what I don't know, I should not be there looking like one fine, pretty face. It's the same thing I was teaching Masterpiece Women. Shout out to you guys, Masterpiece Women, all right? The next cohort of Masterpiece is starting on the 1st of February. Masterpiece is my expression of prophecy, my expression of problem solving, and my expression, I call it the 3 Ps, right? The gift of prophecy, the gift of problem solving, and the gift of perspective. That is where I express, I raise women who are in business and all of that. I've seen women who didn't have anything to offer. And because of that, their husband didn't show them what the business was about. And I've seen them grow. When they grew, their husband opened the hand and said, this person now has sense. It's because you do not, you are no lodo in that aspect. That's why the man is just trying to say, this woman does not have sense. Let me just keep you as Hunyodogu. You know that kind of thing, right? Hunyodogu kind of thing. And there's nothing wrong with being Hunyodogu by all means. If that is where you want to be, that is okay. Some of us don't want to remain at Hunyodogu, right? You want to be relevant in our system. Lastly, lack of emotional regulation. And for those who are asking what MMP is about, you can send us a message and we will tell you about MMP. The next part starts 1st of February. I think registration closes in 2 days, right? It is for women who are on the journey of impact journey, business owners, and who want to build themselves to actually become more. So if you missed Inner Circle, it's a good place for you to, also start from, right? If you register and if you are admitted, if you're taking, that would be an awesome place. Lack of emotional regulations. Lack of emotional regulation, right? When emotions lead, wisdom takes a backspace. Let me say it again. When emotions lead, wisdom takes a backspace. Most times, we are leading with our emotions. We are leading with our emotions because we're not really in the place where we're thinking. Emotions are your mood, right? Wisdom is your mind. For you to get to a point where you lead with your mind, it is a result of your emotional regulation. It's a result of your emotional regulation. So most of us are leading with our emotions because you cannot, do this. The Bible talks about. I was writing something in my, upcoming book, and I was talking about, emotions, how emotion regulation can actually a man who can take a city, a man who can control himself is better than a man who can take a city. Do you know what that means? You know what that means? So when parenting through anger teaches chaos, parenting through calm teaches peace. The problem is that children mirror adult behaviors. So if you react in anger, frustration, impatience, children are very likely to respond the same way. Many people actually look at me and say, why is it that if you go to a home where the home is always calm, always exciting, you see that the children don't get angry. They're not angry, always squeezing face. When I see a child that is always squeezing face, always do not want to greet people, always want to do that home, there's something wrong from that home. You can't come from a home where emotions are managed good and you are just, always, you see some people, you're always angry, the word is on your shoulders, you're overwhelmed, you're always biting your children. As you come in, kitchen is dirty, you're shouting, hey, everywhere. And you know what? We've all been there. I like to talk about myself. I have been there. I'm not coming from the place of perfection, which is what makes it very beautiful. I've been there. I remember when I was writing the book, Raising the Emotionally Skilled Child, I was talking about, my own journey, my own personal journey. And I was trying to say that before I could raise an emotionally skilled child, I needed to become an emotionally skilled parent. And I started to now walk my journey through becoming an emotionally skilled parent. I was one of those people who would, the kitchen is dirty, you are screaming, you are, hey, the kitchen is, and all of that. A test of my emotional work. Last Christmas, I had a lot of girls. My kitchen is white. I love white kitchens, clean everything. And my kitchen was dirty few of the times. I just saw a work pass and I say hi, and I passed before. Like how? That's what a journey is about. That's what is, that's how it works. But it didn't come from me just praying and say, I receive deliverance, I pray. Most of us are fasting. Hey, I pray now that once I just get on my emotions, it will do it, it will fail at some point. Trust me, I've done it, I've been there. At some point, it's going to fail. So you need to actually, be able to walk through your journey. Thank you, Mercy, for that. You need to actually be able to walk you through your journey. You need to be able to look at your journey and decide that I want to build my emotions. Trust me, parenting is not about how loud you shout, but how deeply you connect. And listening is not about hearing the words. It's about understanding the emotions hidden beneath them. Most times, our children are speaking. We're not listening. We hear the words, but we're not listening. So when you identify the roots and make intentional adjustments, you transform everyday struggles into opportunity for growth. Am I having those struggles? Are my children? Every child behaves alike. Really, basically, it is our reaction. It is the things that we do. So it's about working on yourself. The best lessons are taught is not through words, it's the example and your actions. What do you tell my children are always frustrated? They're always beating the next person. If you're on that table, there's something wrong in that environment that the child is speaking. So go back to yourself. Growth demands sacrifice. But I like to say, the question is not whether you are giving up something. It is whether you are giving up the right thing. Sometimes we're not even giving up the right thing. What we're giving up is just something. You don't know what it is. Does that thing you're giving up, is it actually pain through your process? I give you an example. You take time to go through Facebook parenting groups. You read this one, you read that one, you read that one, you read that one, you read that one. Do you know that that's you giving up your time for something that might not really curate your system to learning emotional intelligence, even though you're reading everything about emotional intelligence? You need a curated, straight system, a curriculum. Anytime you want to change a thing, pass yourself through a curriculum. Every time you want to change a thing, pass your stuff through a curriculum. For those who are asking us how they can join the Nari Academy, just send us a chat. We'll be able to send you all of the details, okay? All right? Pass it through a curriculum. Pass it through a curriculum. And if you are always, it's very important that you look at yourself and say, okay, this thing I'm sacrificing, is it really the right thing? Is it really, am I giving up what matters? Am I giving up what matters? Or am I just giving up? So you might be sacrificing a lot. You might be sacrificing a lot. But believe you me, that might actually. So anytime that you hear people like us saying we're learning this, we're learning that, it's not because what to say, you have so much time now. Me, I don't have time. Wait until you are called in quotes BBT or an Olodo of the time. They will not call you Olodo, right? Your children are, and believe you me, I don't like the word Olodo, but of course, this is just for the purpose of the conversation happening here. Your child will not probably call you, dumb, right? But they will look at you as you don't know it. Please do not be loved and be irrelevant. A lot of people love me, in quote. What do you think they love? Is the value that I bring. Values are the things that people really love, not really about who you are. Who are you? It's just every other person. The differentiating factor between you, that parent that the child goes to ask questions and ask for advice, is that they bring value to the table. They bring value to it. So stop leading with your emotions. Start leading with wisdom. Wisdom is what changes the tides. The problem is that you are currently leading with a lot of emotions, everything is everything that. That's why you're overwhelmed. That's why you have issues with discipline. That's why you're screaming. That's why you're yelling. Come and learn how to deal with your emotions. Emotional intelligence class is already, our registration is out, and there is an offer on the table. You get to pay 15,500 today, right, in 48 hours, or you pay 30,500. The choice is yours. This offer is for you to take it on. An emotional intelligence course comes with a lot of things, worksheets, something that will lead you through the year. It will change the tides for you. Please build you. You are the most important piece in your journey as a parent, not just your child. You are the most important piece in your journey as a parent, not just your child. So please take time to build you. Take time to build you. That's the best thing that can happen to you as a parent. That's the best thing that can happen to you as a human being. That's the best thing that can happen to you as someone who is walking this earth. Stop leading with emotions, lead with wisdom. There is more to it, and it comes from the place of learning. Thank you again for joining me today. And if you have not gotten the books, this is your cue to get it. Your cue to get it. You saw people saying, I read this book, it changed my life. We have the Raising series. Raising the trophy child, I talked about it today. Raising the emotionally skilled child, I talked about it today. Raising the girl with sense, I love this book. I talked about it today. Raising the boy, you don't need to bail out. Yes. And raising the independent thinking child. So many others will say this is their parenting Bible. I don't know why a lot of people like this book a lot. And of course, and then we have the discipline series. In the discipline series, we have discipline is not an emergency. We have connect to correct. All right. And then we have the discipline that works. The discipline that works. And of course, we also have from yelling to calm. Stop yelling. Nobody celebrates, all these. Yeah, my parents yelled and I turned out okay. We're not all okay, including me. It's the okayness that is the problem. We're all trying to run our race, right? Of our lack of okayness. So all of us are on a journey building ourselves. And then, of course, you have the sex educate series. The sex educate series, comes in this, part. Sex educate your child like a pro volume 1. Sex educate your child like a pro volume 2. Sex educate your child like a pro volume 3. You have volume 4. Yes, and then you have walking your child through puberty. Walking your child through puberty is one book that I really, really love. Comes with a workbook. They give me the workbook. Comes with a workbook, okay, but that's fine. All right, this book is very, very. It's also about sex conversations. You want to get a copy. All right, if you send a message to this number on our screen, you will see all of the details, or you can buy it on Amazon, or you can send us a message to send you the link of distributors in Netherlands, Australia, UK, United States, Cameroon, Ghana, wherever it is. We would show you where our distributors are located so that you can have every thing. And then we have the last series. I call them all the other series. In this series, we have the parenting advantage. I mentioned it here. We have solving family problems through effective communication. This book is a game changer. And we're going to start do the communication class this Thursday. All right. And this communication class, a lot of you have registered for it already. You can join us also still. So how it is. And then we have resolving sibling rivalry. And then we have parenting launch plan and how to love your child more. This book changed the life of many parents last year because a lot of people think that they really truly love their children, but they don't know that all they do is that they love the performance. They are two different things. I'm not going to start doing another class with you. If you want to learn more, you want to be in fact, let me beg you, please book a slot for the inner circle. All right. The inner circle will change your life. And I'm not saying it because you are here listening to me and then I'm feeling, oh, are you sure that this? The inner circle will change your life. The reasons are simple. It's a curated system. It's a curriculum given from above. It's a system that actually will drive you. Like I said earlier, listen to this class. If you're a yada, you will interpret it in a different way. If you are an inner circle parent, this class will come to you differently. If you're not, it will also come to you differently. Right? This is a key aspect of your life. Don't do the next, call the next year without being in a parenting academy. It's no longer an option. Book your slot now. We have cohort 1 to Z as at today. I don't know what will happen next year. We're not going to take more than people from cohort 1 to Z. better book your slot now so you can get a space. If we actually get that number of 1 to 3, we shut it down because we cannot manage more than what it is that we can take. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been an amazing time with you. See you at the Emotional Intelligence course. I can't wait to see you there. See you also at the communication course on Thursday. We love creating courses for parents and making their lives better. If you attend any of our courses, your life will change. And this is in literal forms. People will be able to touch and say something has changed in you. Have an amazing day, others. And every other person who is not in the yard. Yarders, I see you in the yard as usual. Bye.